The BBC and other news outlets have been coming out with some scary stories recently in relation to the ever-increasing inflation percentage. 11% hell is on the way, is the headline from the Metro. Britain brace for tough times as food and mortgage costs soar, says the Herald. And this seems to be the same story around the world at this current moment. Now, as an individual, this is going to be a tough time. But if you're in charge of a company right now, it's going to be extremely difficult. If you're watching this video, you're probably a QS or a QS in training, and it's our job to provide expert advice, bring value into our companies, and help them save costs. So in today's video, we're going to define what the fluctuation provision mechanism is, give you the pros and cons for using the mechanism, and answer the question in the title. Is it now time to include the fluctuation provisions in your JCT contract? Before we start, we now have well over 100 videos on this channel, all of which are dedicated to quantity surveying. So if you're a student, a QS, or just a person that wants to know a little more about this profession, please consider subscribing to our channel. We post a new video every Wednesday. In most construction contracts, where fluctuation provisions have not been used, the risk of price increases are borne primarily by the contractor. At the time of tender, the employer and the contractor agree a contract for a certain price, and the contractor is the one who suffers if the materials or labour required go up in price. With fluctuation provisions, the aim is to transfer some or all of the effect of the price changes in the cost of labour or material during the contract from the contractor to the employer by adjustment of the final contract price. However, if the price of materials inflate to a high level, the employer risks spending an increased amount and perhaps an unforeseen amount. It's probably a good time to define what fluctuation provisions are. Simply put, fluctuation provisions in construction contracts provides a mechanism for dealing with the effects of inflation. These are optional contractual provisions. The keyword here is optional. According to JCT Corporate, they fall under these three main options. Option A allows for adjustment to contract sum in respect to changes in tax, levies, and contributions which a contractor is required to pay. That would cover a change in tax payable on imported goods, for example. Option B allows for adjustment to the contract sum in respect of changes to the price of labour and material cost. It covers adjustments to the market price of materials, goods, fuel, gas, and more, which were current at the base date. And option C is a formula-led adjustment in the contract sum. In this instance, the JCT formula rules issued by the JCT tribunals will apply depending on the type of work being carried out. The principal 2016 editions of the JCT contracts that refer to all three options are design and build, including subcontracts, standard building contracts, including subcontracts, intermediate named subcontract, construction management trade contract, and the management works contract. The clear advantage here is that as a contractor, you could reduce the risk of these increasing costs. But it's not as simple as it first seems. First of all, as a client, why would you agree to this optional clause? The risk, or part of the risk, would be transferred from the contractor to you. Secondly, as a contractor, you can't simply say the price was X at tender and now it's Y at construction. Please give me money. Most fluctuation provisions are calculated by reference to published price indices, such as the Government Inflation Index, Consumer Price Index, and other industry published reports. So why are we seeing an increase in the use of fluctuation provisions, which have been long forgotten or usually deleted due to stable prices and certainty in the market? Clients are now open to using them, and here's why. As a contractor in 2022, you've seen steel prices increase dramatically. Your fuel has changed from red diesel to white diesel. Aggregate and other raw material prices have increased. So when you put a tender together, your risk pot is significantly higher. This results in a higher tender cost. And this isn't just one contractor, but every contractor. So now, clients are comparing inflated tenders with inflated tenders. And to combat this, they may choose to take some or all of the future inflation risk with the fluctuation provision mechanism. This then results in an initial lower tender cost. If you're wondering if there's a mechanism like this in the NEC contract, we're here to answer that question too. NEC contracts do not use the term fluctuation. The NEC approach is to use secondary option X1, price adjustment for inflation. Our video on NEC X clauses can be found below. Metroun, a commercial hub to your business.